So today's topic of discussion is going to be bigger shoulders. Getting bigger shoulders mainly comes down to following two general criteria. That is right exercise selection and right form. Let's expand on both of these. First one is gonna be right exercise selection. You see guys, the exercises you choose to train your shoulders play a big part in how your shoulders will look. You need to choose exercises that target the right muscle. If you choose shit exercises like the overhead press, then no wonder why you're watching this video. Whenever you train any muscle and want it to grow bigger, you need to ask yourself which part of the muscle is actually making it underdeveloped. And for most people, in case of shoulders, the lacking part is 99% of the times going to be their side delts. So obviously, to make your shoulders bigger, you need to train your side delts. Then why would you do overhead presses? Overhead presses majorly train your front delts, which are already heavily stimulated in all chest pressing movements. So doing overhead presses, in my opinion, is quite redundant and unnecessary. Plus, the stimulus you get for your middle delts in overhead presses is just not enough for them to grow bigger. So prioritize on lateral raising movements more instead of overhead pressing movements. Now, the next point to keep in mind while choosing your exercises is to choose movements that put the maximum tension in the most lengthened part of your muscle. Take dumbbell lateral raises for example, one of the OG exercises for your shoulders. Don't get me wrong, this exercise can give you pretty decent gains, but the only problem with this movement is that there is literally zero tension on your shoulders in the bottom stretched part. What I mean by this is you can basically hold the weight like this forever, but if you switch to cables instead, the direction of the force comes at an angle to your arm. This means that to stay in this position, you will constantly have to keep applying some force by your shoulders, which basically means you can't stay in this position forever. And this is exactly what we want, maximum tension in the stretched position of the muscle. And recent science has proved it multiple times that muscles tend to grow the best when exposed to high tensions in their stretched state. So always choose your exercises accordingly. Moving on to the next point of discussion is using the right form. Now see guys, I'm not gonna explain you the basic stuff about not using momentum and performing slow control reps and all that, because that is very obvious and basic stuff that you already need to know. But what I really mean by right form is the right form for you. Our shoulders are a very mobile joint and all of our anatomies differ a bit. So the form that works well for me may not necessarily work the best for you. You need to experiment and practice your own body's movement in space and analyze what feels the best for you. For example, some people will find a great mind-muscle connection with their shoulders as they take their arm completely outside straight. Some people will find a better middle delt activation when they raise their arm bent and at a slight angle in the front, whereas others will literally feel it the best with their arms behind their back. You need to see what works the best for your personal anatomy, because that's what is going to maximize the stimulus on the target muscle. Of course, now it's not only these two things you need to keep in mind to get bigger shoulders. You have to train hard, eat enough protein consistently day in and day out. You need to have patience, because even if you're doing everything right, you're not gonna see results overnight. Hope you found this video helpful and subscribe for more.